Hey guys, happy Sunday. It's Clarice. And I'm just going to give this a couple of minutes, allowing you guys to trickle in. And I am just getting myself ready for a quick painting session with you guys today. Oh, here we go. There's 12 of you in here. Hi, Patty. Good morning. How's it going? Oh, yes. Congrats, Patty. I'm so glad you are excited for the Etchr postcards. When your name came up in the draw, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this is so fitting because I know you've been painting and sending postcards to friends all over the world. So I think it's well deserved for sure. You have to let me know what you think about them. I'm very impressed with how they've managed over the detailed paintings we've done. Okay, so good morning everybody and happy Sunday. We are getting ready to do another quick Sunday live with moi. I'm going to quickly talk about what we are using today. So I've decided I'm going to use my Daler-Rowney set of watercolors. This was part of the holiday postcard special that we did. I will also be using my metallic gingerbread by KMS. And then for our paper, we're going to use I'm going to be using the Zen Art Supplies 100% watercolor paper, and it's 8 by 8 inches. I personally love their 8 by 8 inches, and their watercolor quality, or their paper is just fantastic. So I think it's perfect. I also really like the fact that this block is sealed only on 2 sides and not all 4. I find the 4 sides so annoying because when you're trying to rip it, it's not the easiest. But with these guys, you just rip the one side and it can be like a flippy book like this. And then you have a new sheet. Okay, so for my brushes, I'm going to be using my Princeton's and the one Daler-Rowney that comes with the set of 48 over here. And let's see, I'm going to have the number 8 Velvetouch as well. And I'll keep the shader handy too, just in case. And I have is this the 6? Yes, this is the 6 from the Neptune that I'm keeping here. Oh, yeah, Patty, you should definitely check it out. I think you would personally be quite surprised and pleased with it. I am actually going to be setting up a link with all the recommended supplies that you guys can get off Amazon. So I'm going to send that out later on today. So if anyone's looking to get supplies for presents or just for yourselves for the new year or whatever, you can see some of the recommended products that I suggest, which I use in most of my videos as well. I'll give you a couple of different options for papers, for colors, for brushes, and you guys can work with your budget and I guess pretty much what your goals are. Okay, hi Usha from India. Awesome. Hi Dolores. Good morning. You made it and you remembered. Look at that. Okay. All right, guys, let's begin because I know it's Sunday and everyone has stuff to do. So today we're going to do something loose, florally, and bright. I was doing a little bit of practice on the side and I was contemplating, should we do something like a cocktail drink? This was the video that went out on YouTube this last week on Thursday. So if you didn't have a chance to check it out, check it out. Super fun, super cute, and not a lot of things to focus on outside of the drink and then your shading and whatnot. So check it out. But I've decided let's just go with florals and a vase. And I'm not sure how Christmassy or holiday-ish this is going to look like, but we're going to go with the flow, or at least I am. So I'll let you know what colors I'm using, but please feel free to use the colors that you guys want to do if you have a preference, and yeah, just have fun with it, okay? All right, so I've told you all my supplies. We're going to start off with doing florals, or like some sort of background blending happening with alizarin crimson, which seems to be my favorite from the Daler-Rowney, and the madder rose madder hue, or these are the two that I'm going to be using. And then I did want to do a blue, and I believe I want something more of the indigo-ish shade, but when we get to the blue stage, we'll talk about it then. I'm also keeping handy sepia on the side, because I find when you mix sepia with any of the colors, you get a nice darker hue of that color on a warmer tone. And I'm also keeping burnt umber. I think we'll use burnt umber for the vase. I'm not quite sure. I might just flip over to Payne's Gray. I'm going to keep Payne's Gray here as well. So quite a few colors handy over here. And like I mentioned, we are just going to go with the flow. Okay, so let's start off with doing, let's start off with lightly dampening our sheet. So I want to get some nice lighter hues happening in the background. Oh, I got my palette here as well. So this has excess water on it. Let me just take that off. Oh, I also kept this this bottle of ink by Ferris Wheel Press on here. This is the blue. It's like a really pretty blue, and it's got a little bit of glitter in it. And I like the fact that it's got that two-tone effect. So I might use these for like little background florals. Let me see what the red florals look like first, and then we'll go from there. So keeping them aside, we're going to use number 6 and lightly dampen our sheet. And what I'm going to do is dampen it in by creating these. Hold on, let me just make sure that you guys are able to see things properly. There we go. I'm going to do C strokes, and I'm really pressing down my brush on here. So this is going to be my main flower, or this is where it's going to be at least. And I'm just roughly adding these strokes, leaving a little bit of white space in between. Okay, and then I am also going to add a couple of strokes up here. And what the purpose of doing this is because now the next thing we're going to do is go in and get a little bit of color onto our paper, and I want that to sort of seep in and give us a nice light rendition of semblance of a background almost. So I'm going to start off with using my alizarin, and I'm going to mix it lightly onto my paper. Oh, sorry, my palette. And then we're going in and just adding little strokes. And you can see how as soon as I'm adding these strokes, they're like blending in right away. That is the effect I am looking for. I want it to be nice and loose. I'm leaving a lot of white space in between as well. And then once I have that, that's perfect. I'm moving on to the next color, which is the madder rose. And I'm going to blend a little bit of that onto here, and then just doing my strokes at the top where we have just added. And these can be like your 5-petal flowers, that's fine. I want them to touch a little bit just so we can get that nice blend. So just like that, just adding very loose strokes around. Okay. And I'm going to take my number 4, and I'm just going to lightly add a couple of strokes with just water on here. to give it a smoother blend into the sheet. Okay. Now these two colors, I noticed they're very, very similar in tone. So I'm going to get a little bit of, let me tell you what color this is. I think this is more of a pinky hue. This is the quinacridone magenta. I'm just going to add a few strokes in here. And then just some in here as well. The idea is to have some nice pretty blends. You know, this is the beauty of watercolor. You get some really pretty blending, unlike you would with oils or any of the other acrylics or such. Okay, perfect. Now I want to do the same thing, but for the leaves. So for the leaves, I'm going to do a couple of strokes, just like leafy strokes here at the top. So I'm already planning where my leaf placement is going to be. Okay, another one here, some touching this flower right there, maybe one there. And then going in with the 4, we're going to get a little bit of, what is this? The sap green. And I'm just adding some strokes within the water that I just laid down here. Trying to do some pre-fluffing by using this technique. So you've got hints of these colors happening. Get a little bit of hooker's green. Yep, this is hooker's green. And I'm just dabbing just a tad. And again, just kind of adding a dot to what we've just laid down here. More than a dot over there, clearly. Okay. Oh, lots of comments happening. Hi, Joanne. Nice to see you. Dolores, go with the flow is not in my vocabulary. Okay, so then you can just watch for now. Or, you know what, just go with the flow or try, Dolores. You might just surprise yourself. And if not, don't worry, just watch the replay. By then you'll know exactly what's happening, and you can be a little more deliberate in your painting then. Just adding just a bit more, just so that these match. Patty, yes, I will link the ink as well. Are you talking about this ink? The blue? Yeah, I most likely will. Okay, so right now things are very blurry. That's the effect that I wanted to go for before we go in again with a darker color of what we've used and then start painting. So I'm going to keep my greens aside really quickly. I'm going to bring my palette over here. And let me just make this a tad brighter so you guys can see better. And let's go here. Okay, so I'm going to use my Neptune number 6. And the reason I'm using my Neptune number 6 is because it gives me a nicer, fuller, not so pointed edge like the number 8 for the long round, the Velvetouch does. You can see the tips are very different. This one is a lot more pointed. This is not so much. So I want the fluffier, looser feel to my brush. So I'm going to use this one. And we're going to go with the alizarin crimson, and I'm just going to mix a darker hue of that on here. And by darker, I mean more color, less water, and just onto my palette. And then once I'm ready to go in with a slightly darker version of this, we're just going to get a little bit of sepia involved. Where's my sepia at? That's burnt umber. Sepia. Okay, so keeping those handy. So we want to start off with doing the rose. So this is going to be more of a rose, kind of slightly facing upward. So I'm going in with this color first, and then we'll go in with the sepia next. So using the tip of my brush, I'm going to hold my brush pretty much straight this way, so we don't want to get too much pressure. We want thinner strokes. So just doing light strokes, like C, comma strokes like this. And then as I'm going outward, I'm pressing down the width of my brush a little bit more. And then dipping the tip of my brush in water and doing the same thing, just adding some light strokes here and there as we go outward. Then I'm washing off all the color. I'm going to use my number 8 for this now. Actually, no. I'm going to continue using the number 6. The number 8's too fine at the top. And we're going to smoothen out these edges. So with just water on it, I am moving this around. And we're smoothing it. Now I'm not doing too much at the top. Most of the color is at the bottom because this rose is sort of facing upward a little bit. And now for those who've got too much color, if you want to swipe some color off, just take your brush, make sure there's not too much water on it, and you can actually just like swipe off color from your strokes, just to make it a little bit lighter if you want. Okay, so now I'm going to add a little bit of sepia to my blend. Getting a little bit of sepia, mixing it into my color, and I wanted the tone to be a bit darker, so I'll get a little bit more of that, mix it in. Not quite sure why the sepia seems a lot lighter. Oh, you know why? Because it is a sepia hue and not actually sepia. So let me just quickly get sepia. This is raw umber. Oh my gosh, do I not have sepia in this? Okay. I could have sworn there was a sepia. But if not, I'm going to take a little bit of the burnt umber. So now it's more of a reddish browny hue. I'm going back into my center and I'm adding a couple of strokes. And immediately it just like opens everything up. I'm going to add a couple of strokes into these guys here as well. These areas, just to sort of give it a little bit more definition. And I'm trying to not cover up all the white space that I have happening in there. I just want these to sort of blend in and give it a little bit of a shadow effect. And I don't mind I actually didn't want it to be as dark over here in the corner, but I actually don't mind how it looks there. It actually kind of looks nice, in my opinion. And then we're going to go back in, get some more of the red or the crimson. Maybe allow this to dry a bit because I want the center to be a lot darker than the rest of the color that you see all over the place. So maybe just allow it to blend in and dry off a bit more before we go back in. I do want to take some muted versions of this and just add some fluffing while we're at it. Okay, so now that we have this, we can move on to these flowers over here. And these ones, we're doing a very similar technique. We're just going to get, because I know we've got a lot, like this is a nice bright flower happening here. So let's get the rose madder. And I'm also going to mix that onto my palette here. Very, very similar to this color. So I don't want them blending, looking almost exactly the same. So what I will do is use more color on this and less water so that it comes out to be a lot darker than this one here. And on top of that, I am going to introduce no, not the orange. I'm going to introduce this flesh tone right here. Oh, 1 second. It is called Portrait Pink, and it is the cutest color. So what I will do is use this color as the base and then go in with my next brush and add some details. So getting some color directly from here, we're going to go ahead and add strokes to kind of really make this like those five petal florals, but with a more fuller feel to it. And then going in with this brush, I'm going to add this hue. But I want to add more of this to the center more than anywhere else on this flower to give it that nice depth feeling of, yeah, depth pretty much. And I've added a couple of hints to the bottom here. I'm going to take this next brush and just sort of blend it in, because this is where the shadow happens. And then dipping the tip of my brush in water, I'm just going to lightly add some fluffing to the edges using the same color. And then switching back, because I do want to get that nice blend with the pink. So getting a tad bit of this, I'm just going to lightly blend it into the background. And it's a very, very loose style of showcasing these flowers, I would say, because literally we're using color and contrast to kind of indicate what is where. So allowing this to dry a little bit, let's do a similar tactic for this one over here. So using my flesh tone, And then going in with my Neptune, I'm going to get the red and add that to the center. Just make sure you don't have too much water on your brush. Pull that color down inward to the center. And then I'm just lightly adding some to the edges as well. And then using some leftover color that we have from this here, I'm just going to mix it in with the pink. And we want to add lighter versions of this, kind of hinting that there's more of those florals around. Let's do one over here. So we're not doing the layering for these guys, just adding our strokes in very loosely. Taking off some of the color, because as you see it blending, you will see that sometimes it kind of goes all over the place. So you can absolutely go ahead and do a little bit of guiding the color to where you want it to be. Adding some of the pink in it, and then just adding some pink strokes as well into this area here. Again, we want things to tie in, so use the leftover color that you have to sort of give that impression. Okay, so now that we've done this, let's do some leaves, and then we will introduce the gold or the metallic that I was talking about, and we go from there. Okay, so we're doing let's start off with doing the sap green, and I definitely want to mix the hooker's green with some of the umber for our darker green, so I'll keep those aside. Yeah, so starting off with the sap green, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that some of these areas are nice and damp and just connect them. Same thing here. And I want just hints of these colors here and there, just because I don't want it to be too bright, just a little bit of pop. And then adding a little, like tinier little detail, like leafy details in these areas where you've already given it a pop, okay? And now let's do the hooker's green with the sepia hue. It's a nice green, but I'm not fully satisfied with how it looks, so I would rather have a little bit of brown in it and get that woodsy sort of green that I love. Alright, so that's mixed already, so I'm just going to add some strokes, like a dot at the edge, like where these start, and allow the blend to sort of just go into the stem. All right, and now we can go ahead and do some, I guess, nicer leaves. So let's give this a little bit more difference in shape. So we're doing a stroke and then longer looking leaves like that. So let's keep things fairly simple. I'm pushing all the color down to the bottom, the edge. Let's do one here as well, just because that area was a little bit damp. And then I want to take I want to take this brush, and with just water on it, I want to add like loose strokes of additional leafy strokes, just so it sort of blends in and gives us like a softer feel to some of these leaves. So just like that, and then adding a couple of like dots in and around the area to kind of give it that loose feel. All right, I'm gonna do one more here. And dipping my brush in water. Instead of getting that brush, I'm just kind of using the same one. And doing that. Okay, so now let's allow what we've done to sort of dry, and let's do the metallic. So for the metallic, I'm going to use the number 4, and what we are going to do is do outlines of flowers. Now, the way I have ended up painting or composing this leaves me with room just over here, but what I would have liked to do was have a flower here and then possibly one there too, but c'est la vie. I went with the flow. I didn't quite plan this very well, and I'm stuck with this area. So I might just do one here and then tiny little ones around. Let me see. So what we're doing is we're just doing the outline of the flowers, right? So I'm going to do one flower facing downward here. So I'm going to go like this and do, using just the tip of the brush, create a petal like that. And then we're doing the closing petal like this. Just the tip of your brush, right? You can create more petals as we go along, but let's do the background petals here. And then the center, where I'm just sort of dotting it to make it look fuller, more condensed. And then we'll do our bigger petals around. I'm going to do one petal kind of just at the bottom here to make it look like it's going outward. So you're doing an outline. These are the inner petals. That's the inside of the flower. Fluff it up as best as you can. Give it some thicks and thins in certain areas to kind of really help add more fullness to your flower. And then, like I mentioned, I want to do another version of this flower around here somewhere else. So let me just finish fluffing it up first. And then I'll do my next one. Can't stop adding more petals to it. These. Okay, so that's that. Let's add like berries using this. So I'm just adding, I'm creating these little circles, and then using the tip of my brush, I am connecting them. And there we go. We've got these cute little berries hovering out. In fact, I'm going to zoom in a bit, and it looks like my battery is going to die very soon, so as soon as it goes, I will get a new battery, and then you guys will be able to continue painting with me. So give me a second. So there's some over there. I'll do some over here. Do I want to do it here? No, I want to do it here. And then just lightly get that in there. I don't know why, but my screen looks so dark in comparison to what I'm seeing. You guys, like on my camera here. It's very bizarre. Okay, so we've got some there. Oh, there we go. Let me get the battery and just switch this out. All right, I am back, but I'm not quite seeing. Oh, here we go. Let's quit that. Yay, okay. We're back. Okay, so I've got this nice big flower happening here. I would have loved to have one here. So you know what I'm going to do is I'll decide this in the end, but I want to do blobs of this metallic in between these flowers too, to kind of give it some sort of random texture-ish feel. And then actually, instead of the flower, we could do leaves. So I'm going to do we've got this flower here, so it would be nice to do a leaf here. or a strand for the leaf here. And outlines again. And I think it would look nicer if we had it over the darkest color. So I'm trying to make it as dark as possible because I know give it a nice shine. And then to sort of pick up on what we've done there, we're painting those leaves on the side. And then I will do one more. There's some of that happening over here. And it's a little bit thicker in stroke, but that's okay. We've got different thicknesses, and these work great in terms for contrast and such. Okay, so let's do the base, which is going to be our what you call it, the vase. And for the vase, I said I was using my burnt umber. Yes, so I'm going to use my shader for this, and let's get some burnt umber mixed up. And I'd like to try that whole. I'm going to mix some of that burnt umber here because I need to make sure that it's not too overpoweringly dark. So we're going to use the number 6 to paint, like dampen the area where we want the burnt umber to go, and then we'll go in with the shader and get our strokes in. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of wiggle my way around, and I'm just making it like a regular rectangular shape, FYI. And just dampening pretty much the whole area across the bottom. Going in and out of the leaves-ish. Kind of working my way around the outline of the flower that we've done. And my shape is pretty much ready. And here, now we go in with the just use the edge of the brush to kind of get in. Beautiful. I love how things just kind of flare out in the water. It's so relaxing to watch and see. I'm going to add some strokes here. Let's do a little bit happening from there. I'm going to get this area in. Going around our area there, just getting some more of this color, adding it to the bottom. We want the darkest to be in the bottom, at the bottom and to the left. I'm leaving some areas with this sort of loosey white blending in with the burnt umber, and then I'm going to get some more of that burnt umber. Where is it? This is burnt umber. Just want to add it to the bottom, to the side. These areas here where the shadow bits are happening. Add a little bit more down to the bottom here. I want some nice contrast. Just sort of blending this in a little bit before I leave it. I love the rich brown against the red that we've used, and even the gold. It really picks up on the whole warmth of this palette, color palette. All right, perfect. So it's like a good balance between the bright and then the not so bright. Okay, so we have to still add that detail to the center because I mentioned right now it still looks like there's too much of the color that's blended into things. So let's just get back into our alizarin crimson hue. And actually I have tons of that mixed over here. And then mixing it with some of the burnt umber. We're gonna go ahead and we'll just get some more of that color. Add those little C strokes in here. This time we're not doing any blending, we're just kind of adding these in. I'm just kind of adding a little bit of water onto my brush to kind of add more of these little strokes on the outskirts. So it kind of does a little bit of a fade as opposed to just disappearing. And you can immediately see how it just opens everything up right away. Like the flower all of a sudden is like next level. We'll do a little bit of that for the centers of these flowers here. And I think I would just rather take the sepia hue directly from here and just give the centers of these like a little bit of a something like that. Same thing over here. And last but not least, a little bit of that happening here. Okay. And now let's add a little bit of finishing touches just on the outskirts over here with the blue, the ink. I'm getting some ink directly from there. And I'm just going to add kind of the strokes very similar to what we've done with these guys here, the smaller ones. But what I'm going to do is have them happen, and then also doing a little bit of these dots, fluffing, like I like to call it. I'm going to get some over here at the bottom. They're literally, honestly, just organic shapes. We're just doing organic shapes to sort of symbolize flowers. We're not doing anything super complicated. Just the organic shapes to kind of really have these little pops of color on our painting. You can do some in between as well if you've got a little bit of white space, just a little, to kind of pick up on these colors. And so we've got 1, 2. Add some at the top here. Ever so lightly, and then just in between. And that is it, guys. I don't think I would do anything else. I did contemplate going in with a tad bit darker, or maybe even using some of the metallics to kind of go in and add some detailing to these two flowers. But I kind of like the looseness and how it kind of just blends in, but at the same time certain things really stand out. So I'm going to leave this just like this. So hope you guys have gone along and done this, and I know it might be a tad intermediate for some of y'all. Hi Jill, no worries. Hey Lollipop. Dolores, I'm glad you liked it. Okay, so this is our painting for today, guys. Just a quick reminder for those who are looking to do the postcard special. All 5 have been done. These are the 5 that you would get videos for if you sign up. I'm going to link the to the sign up for this below. We've got a cozy chair. We've got pomegranates and flowers. We've got a berry Merry Christmas, a lamp, and a red door. Okay, so these are the 5 cards. They are done on Etchr postcard, which is what Patty was talking about. She won from our amazing sponsors for this. And yeah, sign up, guys, if you're looking to create some nice holiday greetings for loved ones. And that's it. Patty, yikes, just wait until I post this on our group. I can't wait to see what you've done, Patty. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, please make sure you hit the like button, and feel free to share this with folks that also enjoy creating their own art. Thanks, guys. Have a fabulous Sunday. I can't wait to see all of your work on there. Dolores, please do post yours too. All right, guys. Bye.